Hey guys, it's Beth. Welcome. This is my final share for the Smash That Small Paper Pad collaboration for 2021, and this was hosted by Deb Houck's Crafty Cottage, and it was a collaboration focused on using paper pads smaller than 12 by 12. And I do want to thank Deb for hosting this the past 2 years. It was really good for me. I don't tend to gravitate towards my smaller pads, so this was great to help me focus on using up those smaller pads in my stash. And for this month, I focused on warm and cozy. And also just to note that this normally goes up on the 25th of the month, but that would be Christmas Day. And even though I could schedule it for Christmas Day, I would hope that you all are doing something Christmassy on Christmas Day, whether that's spending time with family and friends or even just watching Christmas movies rather than watching me on YouTube. So since I didn't want to post it on Christmas Day, I figured I'd post it a day early rather than be late. So I am a day early. I'm not sure who all will be posting this month, and if they're going to be posting on today, actual Christmas Day, or on Sunday the 26th. So anyway, but I focused on a winter pad, Warm and Cozy by Echo Park, and there were 24 sheets in it. And one of the things I knew I wanted to do, because as I'm trying to wrap up my goal of scrapbooking all of my 2013 and 14 pictures, there was one set of pictures that was snow, and so I figured I could use that pad to help me kind of finish off that goal for this year, and then also to use up the pad. So I did a lot of piecing. This first layout actually is kind of a better example of that. So I had followed a sketch online, and they had, they were using 12 by 12 paper, and so they had a strip coming all the way, like most of the way down this page here, and then a thinner strip here, and then 2 strips here. So I ended up taking 2 sheets of the 6 by 6, and I cut one down to be like 5 inches wide, I think is what it was, and then just cut it in 2 pieces so that I have my top piece tucked in here, and then I just tucked in a little strip down here at the bottom. And then I did the same thing for this blue snowflake. I just added a piece up here and then a little strip down here. And then I did the same thing on this side because it is a 2-page layout and it was a balanced layout. And so I did the same thing over here, just kind of took my pieces, snipped them, and then added the little strips down here at the bottom. And then these were actually smaller pieces anyway, so I was able to make those work. And then just added my photos. And then for embellishments, I had the Let It Snow ephemera pack, which is a Cartabella line, but the colors coordinated really well. And so I decided to use that to add some embellishment to my layout. So I have like the journal spot. Oh, actually this was a cut apart, I think, from the pad, my little journal spot here, but then this was ephemera, the Winter Wonderland, my title down here. Uh-oh. My bow came unglued. I'll have to fix that. And then this was a cut apart from the pad, and then this was an ephemera piece. And then I had 2 bows left in this Cabin Fever pack of bows, and so I decided to use those up on these layouts because I still have a whole nother pack of these so that I could finish off this pack. And so I had it here, and I will just have to re-adhere that. So that is the first layout for my album, and then this is a layout for Ellie's album. And same thing again, there were more pictures on her layout, and so I just kind of put my pictures in a grid and then added some pieces here, kind of tucked them in behind the pictures. And then again, I had a little strip of the wood grain left, so I kind of added it down here, tucked it in the bottom, and then used the ephemera pieces to add some embellishments. Last bow. And then here again, that was from a cut apart from the pad, and then the rest were ephemera. And then also on this, my title ephemera piece, I also have the Perfect Winter Decorative Brad pack from Echo Park. And so I used 2 of them just to anchor my little label down here. So It's funny, I have like 4 different winter embellishment packs in my stash, and they're all from like a different Echo Park line. It was really funny, but the colors all coordinate. So anyway, and just one thing to note on this was back in 2014, December of 2014, we actually had a foot of snow. So that doesn't happen here in central Indiana very often. Normally we just get, you know, just enough snow to be annoying. So that used up a good bit of paper. And then there were 2 patterns that I thought could be Christmassy instead of just winter. And so I decided to get a jump on my craft show crafting for next year and make some nail file holders. I'm out of the nail files, but I sold out of these every time at the show, and so I really need to make sure I have a bunch stocked up for fall 2022. So anyway, I just took, it was like just greenery and pine cones, and it's got red on the inside, and so I thought those could be Christmassy, so I just added a little 3D poinsettia on the front to make them a little more Christmassy. And then the rest of the paper I used for cards. And to be honest, I started this yesterday. I made my layouts yesterday and decided that I did want to go ahead and finish this up. And so I kind of went through and picked out patterns that would be great backgrounds so that I could kind of speed up my process. I picked good kind of dark solid patterns that would make good backgrounds, and then I found patterns that would be kind of a good focal point, and then just cut my card mats out of those, the kind of the ones I had set aside for the card mats, cut my card mats down, and then took, so they're 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then made the little focal rectangle here. I think it was like 3 by 4 1/4. And then, so I did that on all of them, and then used, this strip was left over from cutting down the card mat, and it has the hole in it. It's like the piece that goes across the top. And then just used one of the cut-aparts, the 2x2 cut-aparts from the pad. And so that made putting all these together, I just kind of mixed and matched the different pieces, and that made putting these 5 cards together super quick. And there is something on the inside of every card using scrap paper. And so then I just kind of pieced together all the scraps that I had left to make the remaining cards. I did use a couple of sketches. This is Operation Right Home sketch number 83. And I just liked that it used, I didn't have any like really long pieces left at this point. So I just took the scraps that I had, cut them down, and then grabbed a sentiment that I already had stamped from my stash and used one of the little square scraps I had to back that. And then I think that may have been the only other sketch I used. Oh no, here it is. Here's the other one. And this is SNS sketch number 6. And one I did horizontal because of the orientation of the papers, and again grabbed a little sentiment from my stash and then layered it on some of the scraps that I had. And then this one goes vertical. And I did have like 2 of this piece, and then these 2 were similar enough to go opposite each other. And then Warm Winter Wishes, I think that is one I had printed from my silhouette last year. So then the rest of these, I was just kind of playing with the scraps I had and making them work. So layered up a bunch of scrap pieces here. Winter Blessings is a printed sentiment I had in my stash, and just backed it on this green, which was a cut apart, the backside of a cut apart from the pad. Here I have several, there should be one more, several where I was using 2 different strips, 2 different size strips that were left, just kind of layered those together. And then I have a strip of this plaid, was the top part left from probably cutting down the card mat, or was this piece I had left, and it had that circle on the top for the tear strip as well. And then this one I brought in an ephemera piece from that ephemera pack, the Cartabella ephemera pack I used. This one, these two were both printed sentiments I had in my stash. Sorry for what I said when it was winter. That's usually me about February, cranky and ready for spring. And then I loved this cut apart and I really wanted to use it. And so I just grouped this Hello Winter with this cute little cabin on the lake scene and created kind of like a little focal point out of the two of those, backed it on some white cardstock, had just pulled out a scrap of light blue from my stash for my card mats, and then decided it needed something else. So I just added, this was a strip that I cut in half to kind of put behind it just to add like a little bit of a darker color behind those focal points. And then this last one, again, I pieced two strips together. And then this is the back side of two cut aparts that hadn't been cut apart yet. And then it just layered up my sentiment on another scrap. So I think I got about 15 cards. And then the, two 2-page layouts and these. And then I did use some of the cut aparts on some reversible blocks that I will insert a picture of here that a lot of them have already sold, like at my craft shows, but I did go ahead when I used them with my Christmas pad from last month. I pulled out some of the cut aparts that would coordinate well and use them on those blocks as well. So I got a lot from this little pad, and not bad for like an afternoon's worth of work. It went pretty quick. So, and just as an update, I hadn't finished using all of my Christmas pads from last month, but I did end up finishing off both of the Christmas pads that I was working on. I think I had everything cut down and had them earmarked for things, but I did end up finishing them off. So got 2 pads done last month and then another winter pad done this month. So, but I thank you guys for your time and following along with us for the past 2 years. It's been really fun. Thanks again, Deb. And please be sure to check out the description box for others that are playing along this month. And I thank you guys so very much for your time today. And I hope you all have a very wonderful, blessed, and Merry Christmas.